to me, between these 4 episodes, might have been the biggest brain move. That like, where'd you even think of that, my guy?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those ones you're like, oh man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Irbal Sinergy, the shop. I'm your host, Sinji. With me, as always, my co-host, Irby.
What's up, everybody? It's me, the Sound Master. No disaster.
You know what just dawned on me, Irby?
What?
Perhaps you should be being introduced first.
Probably.
It's Irbal Sinergy, not Synergy Herbal.
It's interchangeable. People
these.
know at this point. That's enough out of you, sir.
I apologize.
You better apologize.
1 second, my dog is going ballistic on the couch. One moment, Irby, take the lead.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to take the lead when you're by yourself. Tango takes two. Well, anyway, folks, we're here to bring you some of the precious takes of the tea this week. As the official, unofficial JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast, we got some very interesting things that happen and have some thoughts that I'm curious to get my co-host's opinion on.
Oh, you're talking about how I finished like JoJo's?
That. Yes.
Gotcha.
You told me take charge.
Take the lead. Do what you want. Yeah. I'm here. It's your show, dog. I'm just here.
I myself do not have any flavors of the week.
What? Okay, yeah. I do have a flavor. It is from JoJo's.
Okay.
And I think you would agree that this is I think you would agree that between all the crazy shit that happened during the Dio fight, even though Dio's fight, so it was Dio's World, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. All right, part 3 should have been part 4. Dio's fight was all the last 4 episodes. My flavor out of those 4 episodes might just be undeniably Jotaro stopping his own heart.
That was cool. I was like, man. He's like, oh, I stopped my breathing. And then he's like, oh, well, his heart's not beating. And I was like, oh, snap. How you going to get that? And he just pretty much squeezed it until it did not beat. I was like, that's wild. I would have never thought to use.
Yeah, his eyes started fading, like, bro. Then the way he came back again, the callback was crazier. Man, listen.
Yeah.
But I have a negative flavor of the week too.
What? What's your negative flavor?
What they do to my boy JoJo in the next season. What they do to my boy Jotaro.
Jotaro, he's not bad.
Bro. No, listen. I spent 48 episodes gradually liking him more and more. You know, I was unsure about him.
Yeah.
I got used to how he looked. I got used to his demeanor. How badass he was. Bro, they changed the whole art style on me.
Is he not allowed to grow up and change?
Bro, that's not just growing up and change. That's a whole art style change.
I mean, yeah, they did change. It does not look more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, though?
If you're asking me to compare season 2 and season 3, I think I like the way season 2 looks better.
Okay.
And that possibly could be like if Jotaro wasn't in the season, then my opinion probably would change. I think it was the mix of the art style and him wearing white, because like he's got a weird thing with his hat and his hair, but like it was okay in the second season because his hat was black, so like you really didn't see the transition. And this one is kind of like, is your hat like in your hair? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But Well, moving a little forward. Before we go into the JoJo's, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Got nothing really.
Okay.
And yeah, wasn't big on the animes this week that came out. All my stuff ended, so I was like, yeah, I ain't got nothing else.
I do want to
So
shine a small light on Solo Leveling Ragnarok. Well,
yeah,
the anime was good too. It was a good fight. They they made the fight a little less one sided. But the animation was good. The Jinu versus Beru. Now I do want to shine a little small light on Ragnarok. The chapter I just read was phenomenal because he died. As I explained to you, he was dying over and over and over again, over hundreds of times, and he just kept dying. So he finally found someone he could beat, and like he got the job. He completed the job class change quest, and they gave him three options. One was like become the successor to the Shadow Monarch. Two was like Soul Striker, but you lose the Shadow powers, and three was like become something unknown that can eventually become a hidden class. Also lose the Shadow powers. And he said, I died hundreds of times, and you all offer me one reward. Don't be ridiculous. And then he just started, like, the chapter ended with him trying to merge all of them and says, give me all of them. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
yeah.
Next week, I want to see what this turns into. And then I read a little bit in the comments that, like, the path the path that he took in the comic is not the same path he took in the novel. So like people were speculating, oh, maybe the one he fought is the one that's in the novel, and now we're about to see them come together. And I was like, bro, you guys change. You guys changed the whole story between the novel and the now I want the audiobook to come out.
The audio book to come out.
Cause I ain't reading it.
Why not read it, dog?
I don't got that kind of time nor patience.
You should read.
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. That's all it is to it.
Yeah.
I don't like reading novels.
I love reading novels.
Power to you. Now, do you have anything you want to talk about before we go on this JoJo dive?
Nah, I got nothing to
Okay.
talk about.
All right, man.
JoJo's here we come.
Yeah, without further ado, Dio's World. I feel like it was so much to take in. I think I'm gonna need help with the help from the show on this. Give me 1 second to pull it up, put it on mute, so I can skim through scenes and like redigest. Episodes. Let's go back to season 2. Let's just scroll all the way down to the Bizatum. And here we go. Dio's World Part 1. The only problem with this is... So, the first thing that was like, damn, this is... And like, mind you, I was so absorbed in this that like, I wasn't writing notes half the times. Oh, Netflix, why? Don't do this to me. You're not going to let me like... Okay, so I'm just gonna skim through, and then boom, 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 boom. Yeah, okay. All right, so Dio's World Part 1. Polnareff got to Dio first. He's up the stairs, he's taunting him. He's also invited him back in the clique. Like, you can still join me. And Polnareff's, his resolve is like firm, so he starts walking towards Dio, and then it's just like, boom. He thought he took a step forward. He took a step back. And it's just like, oh, you're backing away. You're doing the opposite of what you're saying you're going to do. And like Polnareff's just like, what? I'm coming up there now. He takes another step forward, ends up taking a step back. And like at this point, I'm like, the fuck is going on? Is the world's ability just to like make you do the opposite of what you think you're doing? What's going on?
Or teleportation or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was just like, is he just like, I don't know what's going on here. So you ever played Mario 64?
Yeah.
You remember that part up in the castle? Like, if you didn't get enough stars, then like the stairs were endless.
Yes.
That's what it made me feel like was going on. It was like, oh, he didn't defeat enough stand users. He can't reach the boss.
Yeah.
Um. So after taunting Polnareff quite a bit, the gang shows up, and something happens where like they have to go on the run out of the castle because not, the
Yeah.
sun disappeared.
No, it was the murderous intent. Like they got the feeling they were like, oh man, whatever that is, we can't beat it right now.
Oh, it
So
was like so
they left
ominous
out.
that they retreated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, so much shit happened. And what's crazy is not that much of it happened in this episode, but like it's so much like oh shit, damn,
You're like, you did
the
that?
fuck is
When
going
did what?
on?
When did he do that? Yeah.
I do want to note this. Actually, later I'll get to it. I'm over here. I'm just like, I get worried that I'm gonna forget to say something, so like I want to jump the gun, but like it'll come up. There's no way for it not to come up. So they end up outside and like they want to like retreat for now. And Polnareff is being Polnareff about it. He's like, no, I came here to take down Dio. I'm going back. So then they realize like, all right, he can't be stopped. Then let's just do a pincer maneuver. So Jotaro, you go with Polnareff. We'll lead Dio around. We'll like drag him around town. So Dio, he hijacked a politician's car and made the politician drive. And what was hilarious was like the politician kept trying to get out the car, and Dio was using his ability to put him in the driver's seat. He's just like, the dude was going crazy. Like, what is that? What's going on? All right, I guess I'm driving for this guy.
Yeah. He said, this must be a dream.
Yeah. So, then they start a car chase, and like, the car chase was okay. It wasn't too extravagant. Like the real good shit starts really happening in the next episode. But like, we briefly had like Kakuin versus Dio because Kakuin wanted to see Dio stand, and like he did the Emerald Splash thing where it's like multiple projectiles, and Dio just like flicked one with his finger and took care of all of them. And they ended up Dio ended up throwing like the person at the car or whatever, and they all crashed. And that's we go into Dio's World Part 2. And fucking Netflix with a commercial. But I remember the beginning of this. So Kakuin kind of gathered what Dio's range was. So he made a web in the sky to surround Dio and like keep the distance. So when he did his attack, suddenly Kakuin ended up with a hole in his gut and it ended up flying into I think it was a water tower.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of like with Naruto, with Sasuke. Well,
When Kakashi
that
threw
whole
Sasuke into like
yeah,
yeah. That's one of my favorite scenes from Naruto. Like if I had like a top 5 scenes, that one right there would be like, if not on the list, pretty damn close.
yeah. I was like, oh, it's reminiscent.
So Dio knocks Kakuin all the way into like the water tower, and he's trying to figure out what the hell happened. He was out of his range, but the webs are being destroyed. I'm watching them be destroyed. What is it? I got to figure out what it is. And then he looks at the time. He's like, time. Where did he have the time? He didn't have the time. So he forced the time. He stopped time. So then it was like he figured it out. He figured out what Dio's power was. And then like now the goal was to let Joseph know what the time was. So Kakuin's final attack ended up getting cut short because he started bleeding out. But then he drew the willpower to do it again, and he destroyed the clock. And then Joseph was like,
It didn't destroy the clock.
not the clock, but like he put a hole in the clock.
Keep going now.
Yeah, he put a hole in it a specific point, which gets brought up a little later on.
That's why I was trying to say too much. But like he did destroy the clock.
Yeah. I didn't really butcher his name that much. I kind of did.
Queen.
So Joseph, Dio was kind of mocking him, like, all that effort for that, and then Joseph in his head was like, no, Kakuin's better than that. He wouldn't waste an effort on something like that. He aimed for that clock. Why though? Specifically the analogs. But why? Why would he do that? And then like he put it together like, Dio's power must have something to do with time. So then my man Joseph just started Spider-Manning all over the city.
I did like what he was doing that.
The crazy thing is, I didn't think his stand had that kind of range until like you don't really see him utilize his stand too much, and like it's just really randomly where it becomes kind of useful.
Like his whole stand. Like I don't even think I've seen him manifest it.
He can't. That's all he can do. Thorns.
I think he might have did it at the beginning.
I love how
Jotaro, he has a stand, but I think that was the only time you don't see it too often.
Yeah. It's just show Jotaro what his stand can do with the pictures and stuff like that. Then there was the episode where like he had that zit thing on him. He used it there, and then other than that, to get the stand out of Polnareff's throat. But it's very minimal. His stand is not.
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole big old design of his stand. You just see the vines.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if he actually does have a stand that lacks the ability to completely manifest it.
I feel like it probably is a thing for him because he probably just manifested his stand not too long ago in those years. Or he might just did it like just now. So he also probably can't contextualize a stand because he's older.
But for a while, it becomes just a wild goose chase between Joseph and Dio, where they finally like get to ground one, and Dio uses his ability to actually no, he doesn't use his ability. That's the problem with like not listening. You kind of miss a couple things and get a little thrown off by sequence events. But Jotaro catches up to both of them, and Joseph's warning like, no, you can't get close to Dio. You got to get away. You can't. His power is to stop time. You can't get close to him. And that's when Dio activates, the world, and he stops time, and he just casually like kills Cat, punches people, moves them out the way on his way to Joseph. And when he finally gets to Joseph, he throws a knife towards him so that when time finally resumes, he gets stabbed in the neck. And Jotaro, he, even with Joseph dying and telling him like, hey, don't you fret about it, like don't let this.
Don't get angry.
Yeah, don't let this cloud your
judgment.
Don't
let the beast out.
He's unbeatable at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's what Jotaro.
I do want to talk about his Joseph's use of hormone. Still,
when he like coated his whole body in hormone and his
violet stand. Purple. Yeah. I was like, oh, my man is using all sorts of tricks to get there. I was like, okay, but it's completely useless.
It was useless. I'll be perfectly honest. I thought towards the end, Johto was just gonna whoop out some hormone on him.
I definitely was hoping he would. I was like, oh, he found a secret hormone. He's going to put hormone around Star Platinum, but he didn't.
Yeah,
But also,
Hamon was such a very adaptable thing.
it definitely, the use of it fell off, which I'm like, I feel like you could use it for everything. But if a stand is a manifestation of energy and hormone is energy, it's kind of double redundant, if that makes sense.
Oh, maybe stands are just the advanced form of Hamon.
It could be that rendered it obsolete, but I don't think you ever get like a clear not notification, like differentiation of it. If that makes sense. But yeah, I was talking about how much a menace Dio is for chopping up the cat and putting it in Food's Drake, made the guy stab a fork in the lady's face.
Dude, that's not.
Yeah.
Listen, that's
Like
this dude is freaking diabolical.
he's a menace. Like when you look up someone definition menace, that's definitely him. Because I'm like, bro, there's no need to do any of that. Like you just start hating him all over again.
Oh, I missed over the fact that like before his bloodlust scared them out the mansion, they did go up to his room and like use the guy who can pretend to be a woman to open the coffin. And as soon as he opened it, he was inside the coffin.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? We just saw him open that, right?" Yeah, I didn't take my eyes off him. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I was like, teleportation? I was like, oh, man can switch bodies. I was like, oh, my man's law.
my man can stop time. That's freaking crazy.
It's like room.
But
Yeah, I definitely like, dang, that's OP. I was like, how you gonna get past that?
right. Yeah, let me help myself out and put some fucking subtitles on this. Even though subtitles won't match the actual dub thing, it'll give me like a idea of what's currently going on. So like Jotaro's pissed right now, right? And he's with even though like he wants to heed Joseph's word, he's too pissed to even consider it. So so now he's approaching and he gets closer and Dio activates actually they have an exchange of words and he's like Jotaro starts analyzing his abilities, and he's like, your world is very similar to my Star Platinum. And Dio's like, yeah, I've always wanted to know which one is stronger. I guess we're about to find out. And they go around, and Dio starts he like hits Jotaro's leg, and Dio starts bragging. Did you see? And it's like, what, this thing? You barely even wounded me. And Dion's like, you Joestars, always too stubborn for your own good. I guess I'm gonna have to show you the real difference between us. So then they get another crack at it, and like Star Platinum manages to get a clean hit in and scratch Dio's face. And we go into the next episode.
Yeah.
So the next episode goes on, and they're going back and forth, and they're pretty evenly matched to the point where it threw me off that Jotaro just started floating in air with Dio. But then I was just like, oh, they're saying that the force of the punches colliding with each other is creating so much air force that it's lifting them up.
Oh, question for you though. Did you watch the opening for it?
The opening for what?
For this episode?
For this episode?
Yeah, for the Dio's fight.
No.
Oh man, you missed out on a interesting little tidbit there.
Remind me to watch the opening so I can react to it next week.
Yeah.
It's right, but tell me, I didn't watch the opening. I don't think I watched this opening once at all this season. So tell me to watch both.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, essentially, it's
The song wasn't getting my attention. I mean, I at sometimes I would be in the middle of something when it came on, so like I'd hear the oda 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 at the end.
yeah, they did an interesting little tidbit in there. I was like, oh, just noticed that. So, but yeah,
Oh,
all
you
right.
just noticed it?
No, like you'd be like, oh yeah. Like if you watched it before, it'd be the same, and then at the end, it's something completely different than what happened before. And you're like, oh snap,
Gotcha. All right.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotta watch it, but like I'll also watch. I want to watch the original first, and then see what they did different for the Dio fight.
oh well, they changed the opening like every 10 episodes.
Gotcha. All right. So I'll do like the episode before they start fighting Dio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you'll see, and then you can do that one. But yeah, because I was gonna talk about that, but if you didn't watch it, it doesn't really make it's not gonna make too much sense. So,
I hear you, Bear.
but
Go.
yeah,
So
continue.
Dio's World Part 3. After their exchange, he activates, the world. He stops time, and he's being Dio. He's bragging. He's being all smug, arrogant, and then he sees Jotaro's finger twitch. And okay, all right, I'm gonna pause right here. Dio is so fucking paranoid about Joestars.
If you think about it, he has a right because he's been thwarted at every turn by Joestar.
It was just the one Joestar, the single one Joestar.
No, it was no, because didn't what's his name stop him too?
Who?
Um,
Joseph?
yeah,
No, that was a completely different villain.
yeah, yeah. I forget. Yeah, you're probably
The
right.
mummies, yeah, the
But
Egyptian guys.
yeah, I know they're Egyptian guys, but I thought Joseph had did something with the body under the sun or something rather. So
No, no. So this
yeah,
this season, this entire second season, was Dio just waking up again, and really all the stands that went after them wasn't Dio sending them. It was that old hag sending them. And I think the 9 Egyptian god stands were Dio's actual entourage that ended up failing anyway. But as terms of like Joestar stopping Dio, it's only been Jonathan. So
yeah,
um and I say all this just to say like if he was just a little less paranoid, a twitch of the finger would have been easily dealt with if he just, you know, didn't hesitate and finished them off.
yeah.
But that's hindsight. At this point, Jotaro's twitching and Dio's paranoid, and he backed up and he's trying to figure out how can he move in my dimension, and like how could it be that he can do it too? And Jotaro did say, their stands are very similar. So here came my second, like, not real concern or issue, just like, all right, well, riddle me this. We haven't met two stands that are similar. How come these two all of a sudden can do the same thing?
Because it's the Joestar bloodline.
Oh, well, okay. All right, we'll chalk it up to that. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
I mean, it wouldn't doesn't hold water anyway because Grandpa has a vine guy. So
So did Holly has something that looked Vine related as well.
unless it skips a generation,
Yeah, it could be. Hey, You're gonna get Spider-Man vines, and then you're gonna get a fighting vine, and then you're gonna get this, and okay, so skips a generation. Nah, because Josuke is Joseph's kid, and he's got a weird one that we'll talk about later.
Yeah. He also he I guess it couldn't manifest it then. It also probably do personality too, because Jotaro, he's always been like a fighter like that. I don't think Joseph was a fighter, but like you could look at like the allegory of the vine, like, hey, I'm pretty, but if you mess with me, I'm gonna prick you type deal. Like I don't fight to fight, but I will defend myself. But Jotaro's more like, hey, I don't like what you did, let's fight type. Who knows?
Who knows? So we're at the point where Dio learns that Jotaro can also, move around and be conscious in Dio's world. But like he asks him because he's not sure. It's like, Jotaro, can you see me? And he's like, see what? And then he just starts flying. He legit just starts flying using Star Platinum. My man just like, oh, our stance is similar. He can do that, so I should be able to do that. I'm like, I don't. Hey, I mean, yeah. I mean, should you be able to do it masterfully the way you're doing it right now? I don't know. Maybe you could have got better during the fight. You just seemed to be a master of flying all of a sudden.
Yeah, I feel like he, given enough time, Jotaro can do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes. So then Dio's just like, all right, well, it took me 6 months to be able to stop time for 5 seconds or whatever, and I'm getting better and better. He just learned how to do it. He might be able to do a couple seconds at the most right now. So we're gonna play to his inability to do it. So then Dio stops time again, and then he like looks out for Jotaro's finger to twitch, but then he's like, he caught on to like Jotaro having a magnet on his sleeve, and he's like, "Oh, you weren't seeing me. You weren't in my world. You just had a magnet that made your finger twitch." So then when he came
How
in,
genius was that, though?
yo, so when he came in for the kill and let down his guard, and Jotaro used Star Platinum and bust his brains in, yo, I was just like, my man, yeah, listen.
Like
Who
that is
said you can't have bronze and brains?
like the forethought just to be like, oh, we don't know his power. Then I'll just get these magnets from wherever, and they'll repel each other when they're there. I'm like, who? I wouldn't have thought of that. That was just craziness, to have like the wherewithal to set up a trap like that, and it's just masterful. Because he made him think twice on something that he couldn't even do.
And then just punched a hole in his gut.
Yeah.
And he was like, in his dramatic dealness, the magnet wasn't to, blah, 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 blah. The magnet was to lure me in.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my man set up a trap.
And then he starts flashing back to the old hag, and it's like, the key to your ability, Lord Dio, is to think that anyone can do it. I was like, well, she wasn't wrong.
I think she said think that it was like to think that your power is just ordinary.
Yeah.
Like it was didn't hold like a sway over him per se.
Mm-hmm. So then he knocked Dio out into a store, and his leg gets ripped open. A lady just starts screaming, and he yells at her to bring him his leg. He absorbs her blood, and he recovers because Dio's still a vampire.
Lord Dio.
Don't know how his clothes regenerated, but hey.
Yeah, I think that's just something you just got to be like, hey, it happens in animes. So, yeah.
So then,
I did think.
Go ahead.
You ain't had to. He's a true meaning of a menace because that woman helped you out and he killed her anyway.
I mean, was there any doubt that he was going to kill her?
Like, dang, bro. You couldn't just let her live?
Nah, not even a little.
She did nothing to you.
She had to go.
Yeah.
So now, next round in the stop time world, Jotaro, even though it's kind of weird that, like, yeah, he can stop time, but for like a handful of seconds, and he has to pick and choose his time. But it's kind of weird that, like, he can still like see what's going on. I guess maybe his eyes can't move, but I really like this what Dio did, even though like it didn't work out anyway. And he was saying, "So what? You can move. I'll just have to give you enough um, things that you can't react to." So he threw a bunch of knives at 1 second intervals, so that no matter what time he unfroze time, he'd still have a bunch of knives coming at him.
Yeah.
And he started the countdown. He's throwing. He's doing the countdown. He's throwing, and Jotaro gets hit in the head, the chest. Blah blah blah. He crashes to the ground, and pretends he's dead. And then he that's when he shows he put a whole bunch of magazines in his clothes. He pulled. So Joseph wrapped himself with the purple thing and his what the hell do you call that thing? Hamon, his hamon,
Hormone.
and then and Jotaro covered himself with magazines.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, the magazines. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, he's bleeding.
So
But
then
hey,
Dio, being the paranoid fuck that he is, rightfully so, decides I need to take his head off, and that's when my man Polnareff shows up and stabs Dio through the skull, but it wasn't deep enough to stop him. So as
I mean,
quickly as
it went to the other side.
I mean, Dio said it wasn't powerful enough. Dio said word for word, if you went with a little more force, you would have had me. I was just like, I mean,
I was like, I don't know how much more force
you're
you can
damn near in
do.
the middle of that fucking thing.
I mean, it was off center to the right, but still, I'm just like, man, he should have been dead. But I guess the regenerative abilities are very, very overpowered.
Yes. So then he took care of Polnareff like light work, and he was gonna finish him off. Jotaro didn't want Dio to finish off Polnareff, but he also didn't want to give away the fact that he was still alive. So he twitched, and as soon as he twitched, again, paranoid Dio went into defensive position and started thinking and thinking and thinking. It's like, yo, did he move? Yeah, it's like I don't want to compare Dio to the cat, but like as soon as JoJo moved, he kind of just like maneuvered like a cat and
Yeah.
just like, Jotaro, are you alive? And he's just like, if he's alive, I'd be able to actually no, he didn't do the breathing one. He got a guy, brought him over and said, shoot that man for me, will ya? So then like he makes him aim at Jotaro's body, torso, and like he fires the gun and Jotaro doesn't move. So then when you go back to Jotaro, he actually used Star Platinum's hand to catch the bullet, which was amazing. Great. Big brain. You the man. Love it. But Jotaro, Dio wasn't convinced. He was like, well, if he's alive, he won't be able to hide his breathing from me. So Jotaro had to stop breathing. I don't hear respiration. What about a heartbeat? And this is where my flavor comes through, where JoJo used Star Platinum to hold his own heart still to the point where it stopped beating, and then he started losing color in his eye. The problem is Dio had his ear to the ground for so long. I thought my man was gonna pass out. And he even said it like, if I pass out, like, I'm not getting back up. And then he was just like, yeah, if I pass out, I won't come back. And if I die because I use my stand to stop my heart, the irony of that. So Dio kept listening to Heartbeat, and my man's eyes were like starting to go, but he finally gave up on listening for Heartbeat. So he used Star Platinum to beat his heart again, which again, to me, between these 4 episodes, might have been the biggest brain move. That like, where'd you even think of that, my guy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those ones you're like, oh man, like what? Who think about it in the heat of the moment?
It was the heat of the moment.
Like I definitely want to be like, oh, let me start my own heartbeat.
So then, Dio was talking about lobbing his head off anyway, and Jotaro got Star Platinum to bump his heart real quick. And as soon as he got within range, Star Platinum broke the metal thing that he was doing and took a full-on swing at Dio's head. Dio tried to activate the world to stop him, but Jotaro could do it too, so he entered the world and smashed Dio's brain, which ultimately left him paralyzed. So then Jotaro started freaking playing with his food and like playing mind games with him. So Dio hitched a ride on a car, Jotaro threw something in the car to make it stop. So then Dio tried to go in the sewer, but then Jotaro was inside the sewer and like, where are you going? Which was still great. But then Jotaro started messing with Dio again and sent him all the way to the same corner on where Joseph was.
That actually was Dio orchestrating to get back to there.
Well, I still think it was a little luck on like where he got sent flying. So
no, Dio was like, "Oh, you thought there was a coincidence that you happened to hit me like this? Like I planned it because I needed the blood."
Yeah. Which on his part, great. I will say this: I'm not really a fan of drinking Jotaro blood Dio's look. Like he just looked like, I don't want to be offensive, so I don't want to say it.
He looked weird.
I was gonna say he looked like a drag queen, but like, he had green lips. His hair changed.
Super Saiyan, Gohan.
For some reason, his shirt came off.
His whole jacket.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And then he went bonkers. He just started like freaking out and scratching, digging his nails into his head. For a minute, I thought like Joseph like
much power, yeah. Or he was fighting him from the inside because of the blood.
No, I thought like he anticipated he was gonna die and just like drank something that would make his blood toxic.
Yeah, or infuse himself with a bunch of hormone.
Yeah. So like he was just like, he was going kind of crazy. He was just like, I guess he was just drunk on power.
Yeah, he's feeling himself.
So, then he stops time again. Well, actually, no. While he's going on his rant, Joseph's soul was talking to Jotaro, and he's just like, "Is that real?" And it was real. And Dio's just like, "What are you looking at?" So they go at it again. But my man, Dio, froze time. He started counting down the seconds as to how long he was lasting. Jotaro activated his too soon because Dio got a power boost from drinking Joseph's blood. And he was just counting like 8 seconds, 9 seconds. How many seconds? I feel invigorated. I'll be doing this forever.
Yeah.
So then he starts beating up on Jotaro, and he can't really defend himself because he used up his time. So he just like sends him flying in through a building, crashing to the ground. Jotaro used Star Platinum to kind of cushion the fall, and he Dio stopped time again, and he was counting where Jotaro couldn't see, and at the very end, he just showed up out of nowhere with a whole truck
Yeah, it was
to,
a steamroller,
a whole
like
steamroller
the attack from Jump Force.
to oh, is that Attack from Jump Force?
Yeah,
I gotta
that
look
was
back
his
at it.
his ultimate in Jump Force. He would smack you with a steamroller. I was like, oh, haha. And then when the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's where they got it from. I was like, why would he hit? Why is his special a steamroller? And like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I just don't remember it. It's been so long since we played.
Yeah,
But at the so he's doing the steamroller thing. Jotaro's in the receiving end, and just when he thought he smashed him, Dio ends up not being able to move. Um, and it turns out Jotaro saved his time for the very, very, very last second, so that Dio would be defenseless and would be stuck waiting for him, which would be the to me the biggest brain play, but like that heart thing is just for some reason it's sitting on top for me.
yeah. That was a good move he did.
Yeah, so like now he's some of those I guess 11 seconds is your limit, and he's just like, it won't take me a second to finish you off now. So then Jotaro, he starts taunting Dio, and he busts up both his legs, leaves him in a state, because even though he's immortal, he still needs blood to heal big wounds. And so Jotaro is just like, normally I'd feel bad about kicking a man when he's down, but for you, I have no sympathy for scum like you. I'm gonna let you I'm gonna let you linger. I'm just gonna take you out. You got one shot at me. Take it. He's just going on and on and on. Jotaro's good at talking shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and like I like how Dio was thinking, oh, your human hubris is going to cost you.
Yeah, I can still win this. You forget who you're dealing with, and then like as soon as they go at it again, Dio goes for a kick with his stand. Jotaro goes for a punch with his stand, and Jotaro's
There's
fist
a
kind of
little
cracks a
blood in
little.
your eye.
Yeah, Jotaro's fist kind of cracks a little, but he ends up just shattering the world and ends up spreading the damage to Dio, and Dio ends up imploding.
Yeah. Split that man in half.
1 second, the dog's going crazy.
Do, do, do. Ladies and gentlemen, please pardon us for this briefest interruption. I will now play some music. DJ Quackers.
Dude, oh my god, sound effects. The dude must have came and got the trash. That's all there is to it. You might hear a barking dog a little, but we're towards the end of this. So, what I do want to know is, dog. What I do want to know is, so Jotaro beats Dio, right? Now we're in the aftermath of that. We're in the ambulance. We're transporting Dio's body. We also have Joseph's body, and they're asking Jotaro, why on earth did you want to keep Dio and Joseph in the same truck? And he's just like, cause his it wasn't that long since he died. I want to do a blood transfusion. I was like, what? It's like, wouldn't that? And in my head, I'm like, wouldn't that bring Joseph back as a vampire? That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking, yeah. I mean, but if it was his blood and it didn't have time to assimilate to Dio's blood, then theoretically he should be back to himself because the old boy before, the one that turned Dio turned into a vampire, it took a while for the effects to take place, so it could happen.
It did take a while. You're right. It didn't happen because he. Okay. Yeah. So then Jotaro did his heart pump trick to get the heart pumping so that the blood would move. And Joseph wakes up and pretends to be Dio. Like a fucking idiot. Because, you got to play around. And he didn't even seem surprised that like he got resurrected. He was just like, "Oh shit, I'm back. Let me mess with them." So then he was about to get attacked, and he's like, "No way, Jotaro! I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. It's me. It was just a joke." So then Jotaro had to ask some questions that like only he would know. Dio's body gets exposed to sunlight and actually completely gets destroyed. So I don't expect to see him in the next 3 seasons. They say goodbye to Polnareff, and he hops on the plane. Holly gets better, and she just goes out and says, "They're coming home. They're coming home," and end season.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Jotaro's ability though. Like,
you mean that cheap ability that allows him to stop time? Oh, now it's yours.
Yeah. So it's I was gonna hold on one second.
Oh sure, mine's went crazy. Let's see who's playing sound effects. I can do sound effects. I got you guys. Drum roll. Drum roll till Irby comes back.
And I'm back.
He's back. Drum roll complete.
But yeah, so did you ever notice how stands had like an ability to kick up their level, or they had like some other underlying trait ability that they had, and that Star Platinum only had his speed and strength, which are like physical characteristics, but other folks, they had like another gear they could kick it into. Like Polnareff, he would lose his gear, and then he got the ability to shoot his rapier once.
The emerald green, the green one had the kind of the tentacle like thing, and then he was able to shoot like water bullets.
Yeah, like they all had like a physical ability, and then an ability to like shoot something or manifest in another way.
So you're saying Star Platinum's other ability was to stop time?
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm saying. Like he had an ability, he just didn't know how to manifest the ability to pull it out.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It was probably so. It probably wasn't even like Dio probably didn't even. It was probably like the old hag or something that told him about his ability. Because like otherwise, how would you know that your stand could do that?
I think I forget what he said about it with his stand, but he was like he was doing something one day, and he thought like time stopped briefly, and he's like, "Oh,
yeah,
like,
he did say that."
He said he only stopped in like a blink of like when he blinked his eye, like time stopped in like a blink of eye and went back. And he's like, "Oh, like it didn't change or whatever." But then eventually he talked to her and figured it out. So, but those two stands were oddly similar with the speed and power and only having be like a short range. So one could assume that they were like one and the same.
I mean, that's a bold assumption, I feel like.
Yeah, and if you if you looked at like Dio's stand, looked like if you took Star Platinum's hair off and put on a helmet, they could have been the same.
Yeah. They did have similarities. So I did watch the first episode
I
of.
wasn't done talking about it
Oh,
though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, dog. My
No,
bad.
but but yeah, it's all. I feel like because Avador had a whole nother flame mode he went into, and so their whole group had a whole nother gear to kick it up to. So that's why I was thinking. I was like, yeah, that's probably makes sense that he would have that ability because he didn't have a not physical ability like the other folks did. So yeah, that's my little thought on that one. But yeah, next episode, baby.
Well, I'm not really going to talk about the episode. I just wanted to meet Josuke. I'll talk about the episode with the next few next week.
Yeah,
But I wanted to meet Josuke, get my impressions, because like my impressions of Jotaro when I first met him, like I wasn't sure about him, and I could tell right away from the intro that the art style changed with the like yellow sky and whatnot.
yeah, they switched it. It looks, I'll say, it looks a little. To me, it looks a little cleaner. Like
I don't think it looks bad. I just
cleaner,
think
updated.
I don't think it looks bad. I just think like I just feel like this art style takes away some of Jotaro's masculinity, and I don't think white is his color. But other than that, the intro,
I think Jotaro looked clean, boy.
I think the hat
cocaine
just kind of
outfit.
messes me up. But like if he didn't have that hat, or if the hat kind of just seemed normal, it'd be okay to me. But first impression on Josuke, I wish he actually did have nice looking hair to justify his rage moments.
Just be that defensive over it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, your hair does kind of look stupid. I feel like with his stand, he could probably just punch through this screen and rearrange my face. So I'll chill. But
Yeah.
you don't even need to insult his hair. It's like you just mention hair, and he takes it as an insult.
Yeah. It's funny.
So like, yeah, I met Josuke. He seems like okay. He seems like just kind of like submissive until you mention his hair. I believe the angry woman is his mom. And I can see where he gets his temper from. And like the very beginning of the show kind of drew me in because it was just like someone making breakfast, and then like they sat down and like it started zooming in to like from the hand to the arm, and then the arm was just there was no body attached, and it was just blood dripping on the ground. Like, oh shit, okay, interesting start, and then
Yeah.
we continued. So,
Yeah. I think they do this part where they just assume a bunch of people already seen this or they know, so they don't get in it too much. But yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, so that's my first impressions of Josuke. I just wouldn't say like he doesn't seem like a bad character. I like how realistic his figure is, his shape. The hair does look dumb. It's well, at the very least I think it does, but on the bright side, because it does look dumb, it should lead to a lot of good fights.
Yeah.
And I will talk about all the fights that happened on this episode and the next couple. I'm sure they're going to happen next week, but his stand is very interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, the nephew fights.
That's all I got if you got nothing else.
Yeah, I got nothing else. We go ahead and wrap this on up.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the JoJo Cast. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share us, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Peace.